talking about Judas Priest's sophomore album, Sad Wings of Destiny from 1976.
Judas Priest, of course, formed in Birmingham, England in
69.
1969. And Rob Halford, esteemed and famed vocalist, didn't join until 72. They did their first album in 74. Not super successful right off the bat. They released their second album, recorded in 2 weeks of 1975, late 75, came out in March of 76. And of course, we're talking about their sophomore album, The Sad Wings of Destiny.
We talk about a lot of influential albums. It's very difficult to say with Judas Priest, like, this is their most influential album. I mean,
Right.
they, because...
There's a few.
They have a few.
And definitely
Yes.
British Steel would be the one that most people have probably heard.
Yeah.
If you've only heard one.
Here's an album where their style, everything that they were going to continue developing becomes readily apparent. This actually changed young musicians' courses, basically. This changed their path. When you look at the bands that came before them, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, you can hear, Queen, you can hear traces of
all of
other
those
bands, and yet they sound unlike all of them.
And they sound like everything that would come after them.
Quite a bit.
This is the sound.
Yeah, it's quite stunning. But setting that aside, this album is just flat out a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's really great.
This is a phenomenal album. This album has been described as more prog-like. It definitely has a nice variety on it. It definitely has a fantastic dynamic between longer songs, shorter songs, fast songs, slow songs, ballads.
Yeah.
Obviously
you've got
more
like
heavy
piano
metal
ballads. You
yes.
have like riff forward, like hard rockers.
Fantastic melodies.
Yeah.
Incredible vocal feats.
Don't even get me started.
No, but I mean, some of the songs are, he doesn't hit the dog range
in
of
every
hearing,
song. No.
But then he does. There's just it's a wonderful variety.
And on all these songs that are so different stylistically, really do sit next to each other perfectly on this album.
Mm-hmm.
They're just it just flows.
Even
it's really
if they
really great. I know the track listing, was definitely not as intended, but it still works.
It does still work. It certainly does still work. It works better with Prelude opening the record. It makes sense.
But at least you have Prelude opening a
side.
Right. So on vinyl, you get it on.
So it doesn't. It's not completely messed up. It still does work. The rhythm is sort of. It's
similar.
Relatively similar. But yeah, of course, the only thing I can think that's akin to that is Foxtrot, that doesn't have like a side B. Was it right?
Yeah, the version of Foxtrot that we have, Genesis, of course.
One of them.
Has 2 side A's, so you only have half the record.
Yeah. And
it sucks for us because I want to listen to the whole.
Right. That's certainly a worse problem than what
that
happened.
That is a major F up. The subsequent albums lose a little bit of that variety.
And the next album, A Sin After Sin, which is relatively similar to this, in that it does, have ballads and the wonderful cover of Joan Baez, and all of that, but also like Dissident Aggressor and some of these incredible.
What other band could do those two things next to each other?
I know it's
or has a vocalist who could handle a Joan Baez
sing
song.
Anything.
Yeah, he can sing anything.
But it almost makes you wish they could have continued this, because I love this.
Well, it feels like they left a little bit of themselves in the past that they could have explored and done some great things, because there's some beautiful moments. Epitaph is gorgeous.
Yeah, and
it's a gorgeous song.
That's the kind of song that won't sit with people that are expecting, this is a blanket statement because some people would have no problem with that song, but for the most part, with a heavy metal audience, that song's probably
they're gonna be like, "What's?"
They're
this?
not going to put that on the album,
right? Which is a shame, because that kind of shifting of styles is actually very interesting, and I think works very well on this album. You want to tell me a little bit about how you started listening to Judas Priest, Sean?
No, it took me a long time to really get to Judas Priest. If you're listening to heavy metal at a certain period of time, and again, this is just a generalized statement, but it holds true for me. if you started listening to heavy metal probably between, I don't know, 88 and like 96 or so, somewhere around there, that's the Metallica era, right? It's basically those groups. Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, then Pantera,
Right.
Sepultura.
Right.
But those bands
Jethro Tull.
and and that those bands tend to be obviously more aggressive, faster. They are more
American.
well. They are. I mean, Brazilian. They do have a more punk-like approach. They're more down to earth.
It's stripped away. There's no like crazy outfits.
Right.
There's no spandex.
And
There's a little spandex.
Very little.
There's a little
Just
spandex.
little. Well, Lars
There's a
definitely
touch.
had. Yeah.
There's a touch of stretch for comfort.
But there was definitely a different. It's not approach, not just fashion, because that
That was a joke.
doesn't.
That was a joke.
No,
I
I
didn't
know.
really.
No, I'm saying it's not just the way they looked. That that's what grunge is all about. But I mean, like it was the music itself. And when I first started listening to heavy metal, I was like 11,
Yeah, you were young.
basically, and a friend, and he was listening to like New York hardcore and all sorts of things. You were listening to Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, like hard rock kind of bands. And I was like, well, I like heavy metal, so I bought some things, not Judas Priest, which might have worked out better,
Right.
but I didn't do that. And
Tell them what you got.
no, I don't want to,
Go on,
because
tell
it's
them
also
what you
not
got.
fair. This is not really fair. Well, it was Iron Maiden, but it wasn't like
You didn't. You got the wrong album.
Yes, I
That's
did.
it.
I
You got
did.
the wrong album.
But it
It colored your.
it did. It
thoughts.
colored my opinion of 70s, early 70s,
Yeah.
very early 80s. I'd say English heavy metal in
You
particular.
were a kid, though.
Yeah, I was.
I mean, it's okay.
No. But it took me, because of that. It really did. It took me so long to get back to like Judas Priest.
Yeah, going back to those early bands.
I mean, it took me a while even to get back to Black Sabbath.
It took a while to get to all if we're gonna name drop. It took a while for Black Sabbath, Queen, Judas Priest.
Yes.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah.
There's a couple.
Yeah.
Um,
I realized that I actually there was a definite
a little bit of passing
prejudice
over.
and
Yeah.
and and a fashion thing.
Yeah.
They dress this way, and and that doesn't mean anything, because you listen to the music.
Yeah.
And when you actually listen to the music, without any outside opinions or anything else,
It was good.
it clicked. It finally clicked. And this album in particular would appeal to both of us,
Yeah.
really, because of, like we said, the more prog-like aspects
Yes,
of it
I have
would
progressive rock proclivities.
that would definitely appeal to you and to me.
And to me and to you.
Yeah. The other thing, other than any of that, what is Rob Halford?
So I was gonna say, let's
Where
talk
does
about
that?
the elephant
Where
in
in
the
the
room.
world does that voice come from?
He is insane. He is insane. Like, that's the thing. It's like his voice like set the bar
Yeah.
for hard rock vocals. It's also a bar that no one will ever
That's
ever
true.
reach, because his voice is insane.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is anybody who has come after him that could sing these songs with the control.
Control.
The control.
Is the thing.
So for the range, like style, range, control, everything. I mean, he makes it
Attitude.
just sound attitude. It's just effortless.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. It's
Well, we grew up in the in the 90s. I don't know why it was like a vocal range pissing contest.
Yeah, right.
Mariah Carey had a 50 octave range, and
Yeah, you like
Mike Patton had an 8 octave
yeah.
range.
When you
and
read about these singers,
Jeff
yeah,
Buckley,
everyone
too.
they
6
throw the
octaves, I
octaves out, and everyone's got 12 octaves. Like, how many octaves are there? I don't even know. Yeah, crazy. Oh, maybe Mariah Carey could sing these. You're right.
Yeah.
She probably could.
Oh, she should do it. I would love to hear
That
that.
would be
Mariah Carey sings
Mariah,
Judas Priest.
if you're watching. Cover this whole album. It'd be great. No, his voice, it's really pleasurable to listen to. You know, even when he goes super high and he's doing his like full-on shriekiness.
It's not the same thing over and over again.
It's not. He has a very nice tone actually in his voice when he's low, when he's high, because it's so controlled. Because he knows exactly what he's doing, you know, even when he's kind of like shrieking, it's never shrill.
It's
as
not
high
shrill.
as he goes, it's
No.
still the same like level of measured singing. You know, it's like it's really interesting, and it's just really fun to listen to. He's often written about as, you know, operatic, his you know, his singing is operatic, and yes, but there's something about it that never moves into like theatricality for me. It stays very much,
I agree,
rock and roll. It's about the music. He's not acting these songs out. Like you watch him, he's not like tramping around on the stage. And I'm not making any allusions to anything at all when I say that. No, but you know what I mean? Like it's all just vocal performance and
we put that in context. Both of us are very sensitive to Andrew Lloyd Webber.
It's not Broadway.
Anything of that coming in to rock and roll, very sensitive to, and you know that also put me off of some things. That is not here. Yeah, it's not in Judas Priest, and no, his vocals don't have that. Like in The Ripper, that's a place where you could listen to it and say like, well, it's getting there. It's really not though.
It's an intensity. It's drama.
There's
it's
something,
like a drama and an intensity.
There is, but it feels like.
Like
I said, it almost feels like an old broadside of like a singer going from town to town singing about the events of, you know, like Jack the Ripper. You know, it has that kind of feel. It's very interesting.
It's like a Pied Piper.
I mean, this is an album that still could inspire. I feel like what's kind of interesting is any album, any piece of music that is this good, you know, even as influential as it has been, could still inspire someone to do something new. I mean, even look at Opeth. Yeah. Look at, you know, how much he loves this album, and you know, obviously you can tell.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But, you know, even after Judas Priest inspired all those people in the late 70s and early 80s, it's still this particular album still inspired someone to do something and to sound, you know, to find his own sound.
Well, so that's not possible unless people are listening to music that happened, you know, maybe a few minutes before now.
I mean, you know, he's not a spring chicken, but sure.
Right. I mean, it's nice to, you know, explore and listen to things from many years ago.
That is what our channel is all about.
That's what our channel's about.
Listening to
things.
The full range of rock and roll history.
In case it's not clear what we're doing here.
You know, so we're not genre specific. We're not time specific.
Time doesn't exist.
Time is on our side.
Time is a construct.
Yes, it is. No, but that's what we're doing. We're talking about the full range of rock and roll history.
Thanks so much for watching our brief discussion of Judas Priest, Sad Wings of Destiny. Let us know what you think of this album in the comments. Make sure to like this video. Please subscribe to States and Kingdoms, and we'll see you next time.